if you see me rocking, it's because Carter's right here in my lap and he's taking a nap. So as you guys know, the last video that we uploaded, we went to a consignment store to get his first pair of shoes. I thought I would come and update you guys because we no longer have those shoes. I've learned a lot since, and I'm gonna be looking down at my phone because I wrote down like a lot of notes to share with you guys, and I hope that it's helpful. Alright, so I chose to go to a consignment store because I knew the shoes that I was going to get were still going to follow along like some of the healthy guidelines that I knew that I needed to abide by for him to have a good shoe. I wound up getting a pair of shoes that wasn't even in the clip that I showed you guys, but it was a low-cut shoe, which is not what I wanted originally. But I wound up having to go back and returning those things because he was uncomfortable. He did not like wearing them, and he tried to take them off anytime we were around the house like practicing, and we'd only had them for a couple days, and their policy is within the first week you can make that return easy peasy. So we went in and we made that return, and we went straight to the other shoe store. The update on those shoes that he got were that he cried, and that is what made me venture out further and look into the actual anatomy and the development in a kid's foot. So a baby's foot is small towards the end, and then it widens out. That's the first thing that I started to recognize through all the research that I was doing. Let me just talk about our experience at the shoe store. Our experience was actually really great. As soon as I walked in, we were greeted. He was super nice, and he like sat Carter down in the infant chair where like you size up their feet, and we found out that he is a size 5.5. The shoes that I got him from the consignment store were a size 5. And so right then and there I felt bad because I was like, wow, after everything, I really thought he was a size 5 and he needed that extra room. Like, he's a 5.5. So already the trip was well worth it for me. After that, we went back over to the shoes and we narrowed it down to 2 different choices. One of them was a Sacai run shoe and the other was a Stride Rite. So the Sacai run shoe, that was the shoe that I wanted for Carter, but they did not have his size. But the Stride Rite shoe was also pretty good. It just didn't meet all of the requirements like the Sacai run shoe. I really wanted those, but maybe next time. The Stride Rite shoe was actually pretty great. There was nothing wrong with it. And then when he tried them on, he did not cry at all. So I'm going to show you guys the shoe. It came in like this little cute box. It's so adorable. Okay, so this is the shoe that I got. So first things first, it was a high top. High tops are harder for the kid to take off. They need to keep it on so that they can get more comfortable and get used to wearing the shoe. And the bottom is flat. That was the first thing I was looking for. This shoe was my second choice because it is flat, but it has a slight upturn, which is not something that you want, mostly because as they're developing, you don't want them to be forced to go upward. It should be flat so that whatever way that their foot wants to develop and grow, it should have the room to be able to do that. I decided that this one was actually okay because of how flexible it is. The bottom of the shoe can actually be pressed in and out, and the actual shoe can just be straight up just squished around, which is great because it can move with him no matter where he goes. And another thing is, when I got the other pair of shoes, because it was just straight up Velcro, and when you take that off, his foot could just slide out, and so it just wasn't safe.
I knew I should have got those shoes. I think I just really wanted to walk out the store with something.
Don't do that, people. So these are better because even if he does unlatch this, which I'm pretty sure he'll learn that very quickly, he's still secure with the latch until he figures out how to pull that out of there. But just the shoe and its own is just pretty good quality, so it's going to be hard for him to try and just slip out of it. But it is a really nice shoe.
I wish I had this shoe, honestly.
So I always knew that a baby used their feet to feel, like they are scrunching their toes up so that they can feel where they are and get a grip of how much balance they need in order to make a step or just to stand or to pull themselves up. It's very important that they have that room inside of the shoe to be able to grip just as they would if they were barefoot. So that's one of the things that I actually learned. I knew that the gripping thing was important, but I didn't realize that it was still important inside of a shoe when trying to get a shoe. The next thing is that flexibility is important because the shoe needs to move with the baby because barefoot is best, and that type of flexibility allows them to move as they please while also teaching them how to be in the shoe and not stunting them developmentally. So comfort is also pretty important, which is not something I learned, but just something that I emphasized even more. Like, that's the reason why I went to take the shoes back and went out elsewhere to go and find other options, because he was not comfortable, and that's not okay with me. So I am going to go through all of the tips. I have 10 here, and I hope that it's helpful, because this is everything that like I looked for in a shoe, and he was completely content. Number 1, the shoe must be flexible. Like, I cannot stress that enough. It's so important that they're able to move as they would if they were barefoot. The shoe must be made like a baby's foot in order for the baby to feel almost like they're barefoot. So if the shoe is not going from narrow to wide or similar to that, it should go from small to wide, because that's how a baby's foot is. It goes outward like that. That looks kind of weird.
That's not a foot, that's a hand.
But anyway, you guys see what I mean. It goes from small to wide, and it gives them that room to flex their toes back and forth to do that gripping process that they do when they're barefoot. Number 3, it helps if the shoes are breathable. Breathability is nice, but it just clues you into the flexibility of a shoe. So you should be able to pinch the shoe so that you know if the kid has room or not when they put on that shoe. 4, high top is not the most important thing. Like, your kid will live if the only shoe you can find in this whole world is not a high top shoe. But it's important because you don't want your baby to roll an ankle. You don't want them to not have that support when they're trying to stand and make that first step. You don't want them to feel wobbly. When they're learning the rules of mobility, it's really important that they have structure. The high top helps with that. 5, you do not want the shoe to be too high or unleveled. So that's one of the things about this shoe that I didn't like, that I like the Sacai Run more for, is because this shoe has a little bit of height to it.
I'm pretty sure that it's fine.
You don't want the shoe to not be level, because it messes up the baby's balance. And when they're trying to learn balance, you don't want them to learn it off center, you know? Number 6, if you're not sure about sizes, just go to the store. I had such a great experience, and I'm pretty sure that like pretty much all places will be that with a mom and a baby. So just try it out, and I think that it's well worth the money that you'll be spending to make sure that it's right. They are prepared to help. It's all about shoes, and they have the knowledge to be able to help you. And finding out their true size is really important, because if in the future you want to get a pair of shoes like online or at another store and baby's not with you or something like that, then it'll be more helpful, because you'll know their true size when starting, and you'll be able to kind of guesstimate from there until you go and get their size checked on again. So it's really helpful. The store that we went to actually stored his size with his name, and if you keep coming back, then they'll already know what you need when you come back. And I think that's super cute, and it actually makes me want to go back, even though I can clearly remember on my own, but I think it's pretty cool. So if you're not sure about sizes, you can put the baby's foot on the bottom of the shoe. You can just line their heel up above the bottom of the line. Like, don't start exactly down there, so that they have that space in the back and in the front. Not too much, but you just line their foot up about here and see where it goes, and that'll give you a pretty good idea of the space on the side of the shoe and how much up or down you need to go when it comes to shoe size. So we did that with Carter's foot, and it was absolutely perfect. You should be able to trace around their foot without going off of the shoe. Their foot should not go off of the shoe. Having that space inside of the shoe will combat the fact that babies are going to curl their toes. Like, you can't help it. They're going to curl up their feet, and they need to have that space to go back and forth. One thing that you should also know is that you should probably go later in the evening to find shoes because in the morning, a baby's foot tends to be slightly more swollen than it is in the afternoon. So I would definitely try going in the evening, like after work or after school, so that the baby's foot is ready to slide in and out of the shoe. And because if you get them when the baby's foot is swollen, then you could possibly be getting a size that's too big if you're not getting, exact or true to size. The next thing is the shoe should have a soft bottom, or at least a bottom where they could feel if they stepped on a marble. It's really important when they're learning how to, walk or take their first few steps or stand, that they know what kind of surface that they're on. They're making those associations, and it'll help them in learning how to walk, because babies do everything based off of association. So on the bottom of the shoe, you should be able to press into it, meaning if they step onto something, it'll also press into that. And on the inside, it should be comfortable. Like, that's actually super important. The inside of the shoe should not feel like the inside of our shoes. It should feel like Tempur-Pedic. It should be pretty soft, and then the bottom should also have that soft type of feel. It should be durable enough so that if they were to step on something that could hurt them, that it'll protect them from that, but it should not be so durable and so hard that they wouldn't be able to feel if they changed surfaces. All of that is just really important in terms of them learning how to walk, just letting their feet develop as if they were barefoot, because barefoot is best. Whenever they don't have to wear shoes, let them run free. It's primal. We are animals, and our natural state is the best state. And so that baby, Carter, any baby, needs to know, how to develop and move without the interference of other things. But because we go to daycare and we play outside and we have things that we can step on all over the place that could hurt us, we need to learn how to wear shoes, and it's very important to incorporate that early so it's not more difficult later. So yeah, soft bottom is pretty important. Not too soft to where like a tack could prick their foot, but soft enough to where they can know if they're changing platforms. Number 9 is what I've listed as listen to your baby. They will most definitely let you know if they're not comfortable. Everyone knows that babies cry, so they will cry, they'll tug at the shoe, they'll try to take it off themselves, they'll start crawling more. Like, if they stand all the time and pull up on stuff but then they stop, then their feet are probably uncomfortable. Try to think about new things in the environment, and if shoes are one of those things, if they're crying more, then it's probably the shoe, and you should probably look into the comfort level in the shoe, going up a size, going down a size, because they might be irritated that they're too big, or just changing the shoe completely to try and get better quality. The last thing are my recommendations. So I did tell you guys that Stride Rite and Sacai Run are super good shoes, but I understand that they are not the cheapest shoe, and honestly, you shouldn't be looking at price when getting your baby's first shoe. You should be looking at quality and comfort and what's best developmentally for them. I did go to a consignment store, because at a consignment store you can find Stride Rite shoes, or you can find really good shoes. So definitely check out a consignment store to see if you can find Stride Rite or Sacai Run, because that'd be a super, super good deal for getting a good quality shoe. So yeah, but if you were to try and go and get their first pair of shoes new, then definitely those 2 brands are the ones that I would recommend, because Carter is so comfortable now. I'm actually going to have him practice in them again today and see how he does. But overall, I really hope that this video was helpful. I just really wanted to share what I learned and to update you guys on that last video, because I didn't want you to think that that was the end-all be-all. So yeah, we returned those shoes and we got this new pair, and we are super happy about it. They are so cute. I love them. Like, I think they're so adorable. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching.
Everybody got the reason. Everybody got the way. We're just catching and releasing what builds up throughout the day.